So, since this is going to be sort of like a half writing exercise, half Halloween special, even though the Jeff the Killer story isn't actually, scary in the least bit, I want to take the core elements of Jeff the Killer and attempt to make it a better story. Oh my god, my cats are playing and making so much noise. It's pretty infamous now, and it's still a story that I like despite being kind of really bad in terms of consistency and logic. Core elements that I need to retain for it to... Oh my god, stop moving! Core elements that I need to retain for it to still be Jeff at its roots. 1, it has to be about Jeff. 2, Jeff has to become a serial killer. Duh, but preferably at the birthday party. 3, Jeff has to be a victim of bullying. 4, Jeff has to realize he likes hurting people. I'm otherwise going to go full vegan hamburger and cheese on this, so sit your buns tight because this is going to be my reimagining of the creepypasta classic, Jeff the Killer. No, I'm not a professional, and this is just me pulling whatever sounds good out of my butt. So, seriously, I sat down and wrote this in less than half an hour with, minimal test reading. I did this at the last minute, so... His name is Jeffrey Woods. I noticed his family had moved across the street. He looked a bit young, but I figured he and my son could get along, so I approached with my little boy's hand in mine, and I regret that with every fiber of my being. I don't know if it was something that he always did, but he never quite fit in, even at the party with kids his age. He had this reserved demeanor to him, a natural glare on his face that made me wary and pity his mother. His whole family, really. His brother was nothing like him. Lou, I think. He was a pretty polite boy. He got along with my son very well. They played superheroes and saved the day. In fact, Lou would come over sometimes, leaving Jeff alone, presumably. Jeff would seem okay when cornered into conversation. He liked superheroes just like Lou. You'd almost feel like you're talking to a shy boy instead of someone who was like that. He never played nice, though. He would throw rocks at birds, and he once sent my son back to me with scratches and bruises. And that's almost everything he did. I lived right next to the bus stop that the kids would hop onto. One morning, when I was about to send my baby off to school, he looked out the window. "Mommy, I think there's a fight going on." This happened every other morning, however. Jeff would always be poked at, and he'd always poke back. The beatings would get relentless oftentimes. I would have to get his mom. I once saw the fight go so badly I had to take him to the hospital myself. That morning, though, was very different. "Someone has a knife! Mom!" I rushed to the window. No sooner did I see Jeff's face, I saw a knife in someone's hand. I don't know who was holding it, but I saw the kid he was attacking fall. The most disgusting part of it all. His brother got all the blame. No matter how much I insisted to the police that it was without a doubt Jeffrey, the officer shot right back that Lou had confessed. I'm disgusted, truly. Jeff still tried to pretend to be normal, but to be honest, I was surprised he seemed sad in the absence of his brother. My son would offer to play, and he'd say no, and remain outside, picking at the dirt. When it comes to children, it's easy to believe that they all will learn and grow. I felt sorry for him. I felt sorry for his family. Not in a they have a demon for a child, but their child has problems that they can't seem to solve. His brother had sacrificed himself for him. I'm sure that hurt. So, trying to show hospitality, I invite him to my son's birthday. I give him the time and my number so he can RSVP. I start sending out other invitations to the neighborhood and his classmates. Jeff showed up. He dressed rather funny, but for an awkward boy that I saw often, at this point I was just glad to see things were going just fine. We opened presents and had cake and played games. He never seemed to have much enjoyment out of it, though. His smiles were pursed lips and his laughs were oddly hollow. It was like seeing a doll trying to be a person. Seeing him outside was like seeing a ghost. This kid obviously spent too much time inside, he was so pale. It came to face painting at some point. I want to look like Joker from The Dark Knight. We all chuckled. At least there was something normal about this kid. But he still seemed unnerving. He seemed to enjoy being Joker a little too much. He saw himself in the mirror with a drippy red paint smile and grinned. He grinned the widest, most disturbingly excited smile I'd ever seen, staring mostly unblinking at his own face. He turned and stared at me for a long time with that smile. "Do you like it?" I asked him. He only grinned wider. I take that as a yes. I tried to carry on, but he continued being by himself, kicking the ant piles his mom told him not to mess with. Up until this point, we only had maybe 7 kids over. It seemed not everyone we invited could make it. We heard a knock at the door into the evening as the food was starting to be brought out. I went to go get it, but reaching the hallway, I saw that Jeff answered it for me. It was the kids he fought at the bus stop. My instinct was to yell, "Stop!" The kids looked at me in confusion. I couldn't breathe for a second. I swore that Jeff looked at me like I was interrupting something. They all just went outside after that. Not even his mom knew where they went. He left without saying a word to anyone, and I bet you wherever he went, he didn't take the boys with him on the way back. You all still haven't found them, huh? How long has it been? 2 years? And now, instead of being let somewhere, he's just breaking into people's houses. He's a demon, practically. It was like he hated anyone alive. My son would be dealing with the same kids all the time, and he never hurt anyone. My son doesn't even have a chance of getting out of that situation now. Someone who couldn't even let his own family grieve over the loss of the boy they thought they knew, being so cowardice as to kill them in cold blood and to let them be disappointed. And now I don't know where to go. He could be waiting now outside of my house. But I'm risking my own safety so people know the fucking truth. Who exactly to look out for. I don't want anyone to lose their baby like they lost mine. Please, let your family know how much you love them.